The Lanterns premiere just delivered a shocking twist that has DC fans asking one major question. Is Hal Jordan really dead? The episode introduces Kyle Chandler's Hal Jordan, alongside Aaron Pierre's Jon Stewart, with the two investigating a mysterious case in Nebraska. Most of the episode takes place in 2016, establishing Hal as an experienced Lantern and Jon as his trainee. But at the end, the story suddenly jumps forward to 2026, where Jon discovers Hal's dead body sitting on bleachers in the same Nebraska town. The episode does not reveal exactly how Hal died, leaving a huge mystery at the center of the series, and there are several reasons fans should not immediately assume Hal is gone for good. The show is already using multiple timelines, meaning the 2016 storyline could continue revealing what happened between Hal and Jon. Plus, in DC Comics, Hal Jordan has famously died and later returned, so death has never necessarily meant the end of his story. For now, Lanterns appears to be turning Hal's fate into one of its biggest mysteries, and the real question may not be whether he died, but what actually happened to him. Share your thoughts in the comments. Tracee Ellis Ross is revisiting a painful chapter from her girlfriend's years and calling attention to what she believes was a much bigger problem in Hollywood at the time. During a conversation with Trevor Noah, Ross recalled that while starring as Joan Clayton on the hit sitcom, she never appeared on major late-night programs, such as The Tonight Show with Jay Leno or David Letterman, and she said she had never even attended the Emmys during that period. Ross specifically remembered an incident involving Leno's show, where her publicist was reportedly told, "We love Tracee, call us when she gets something." Ross said she was confused because she already had a successful television series and wondered what more she was expected to accomplish. She also recalled seeing Tony Shalhoub promoting Monk on Leno's show and said she believed Girlfriends had a much larger audience at the time. That experience led Ross to question whether racism was part of the reason she and the show were overlooked. Girlfriends ultimately ran for 8 seasons, from 2000 to 2008. And Ross later found greater industry recognition through Blackish, including a Golden Globe win and multiple Emmy nominations. Share your thoughts in the comments. Nick Reiner is facing another major legal battle, this time over a family trust reportedly worth about $1.5 million. According to court documents, trustees have blocked Reiner from accessing the money, which he had sought to use for legal expenses and basic commissary costs while he remains in custody. The trustees are relying on California's Slayer statute, a law that can prevent someone who intentionally and feloniously kills another person from receiving money or property through that person's estate or trust. Reiner has been charged with the murders of his parents, filmmaker Rob Reiner and Michelle Reiner, but he has pleaded not guilty and has not been convicted. His attorney argues that the Slayer statute should require a determination of guilt rather than merely an accusation, emphasizing Reiner's presumption of innocence. The trustees, however, argue that releasing the money now could be irreversible. If the statute ultimately prevents Reiner from receiving the trust assets, the money could instead pass to his siblings, Jake and Romy Reiner. His criminal case and the trust dispute are now unfolding at the same time, with a pre-trial hearing scheduled for September 15th. Tyra Banks and Netflix are now locked in a legal fight over the controversial America's Next Top Model documentary Reality Check, Inside America's Next Top Model. Banks filed a defamation lawsuit earlier this year, arguing that the documentary manipulated her participation and used selective editing to create what she says was a false and damaging portrayal of her. According to her lawsuit, Banks participated in a 3.5-hour interview, but only about 16 minutes were ultimately used, and she claims important context was removed. One major dispute involves the documentary's discussion of former contestant Shandy Sullivan and an incident from the show's second cycle. Banks argues that the editing made it appear as though she did not remember Sullivan's story, while she says her full interview showed otherwise. Netflix has pushed back strongly, filing a motion to dismiss and arguing that Banks is essentially challenging the filmmaker's editorial choices rather than identifying a defamatory statement. Netflix also says Banks signed an agreement giving the filmmakers editorial control, and that the documentary fairly presented her perspective alongside other participants. The case is now shaping up as a major dispute over documentary editing, reputation, and creative freedom. Thousands of fans gathered in Wales for an emotional farewell as Bonnie Tyler's coffin was brought home ahead of her funeral. The Welsh music icon, whose real name was Gaynor Hopkins, died on July 8, 2026, at the age of 75 after complications following emergency intestinal surgery in Portugal. As the hearse traveled through Mumbles near Swansea, crowds lined the streets to pay their respects. Her coffin was covered with a Welsh flag and accompanied by a framed photograph of the singer. Fans applauded, threw flowers onto the hearse, and even sang Total Eclipse of the Heart, one of the songs that made Tyler an international superstar. Born in Skewen, Wales, Tyler remained closely connected to her homeland throughout her life. Her powerful voice and unforgettable hits, including It's a Heartache and Holding Out for a Hero, earned her generations of fans. Her final journey home became a moving public tribute to a beloved Welsh music legend whose songs will continue to live on. Share your thoughts in the comments.